So let's see if this thing goes on. Since last time I was on here, which was 2 days ago, I had a number of, I don't know why this is so washed out. I had some hardware issues, so I think it might be heat related. Talked about this beforehand, how this machine was just kind of turning off and on. It might be heat related, I don't quite know. Let me actually check right now. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, although I don't really know for real. So I'm using this temperature gun, but part of the temperature gun is it's hitting this plastic on the outside. So I don't think it's like the real temperature. I'd have to like somehow go on the inside. One of the things I realized, I think, is that what I had is, let me move this thing to an actual camera. Hold on. So then do the background, remove that thing. So here's the workstation. I've never actually shown a cup of coffee right there. So here it is. And what I've got is, gosh, I wish I could get a better view. Let's see. I can move this thing to the other side. Yeah, hold on. Oh, that was just a USB hub. It's okay. So this is the thing. It's still really dark. Maybe now I can actually use that light. Yeah, that's not bad. Everything's on PWM these days. So that's why you get that weird. Oh no, that's not. That's actually just this thing. That's not PWM at all. So here it is. It's I guess. Yeah, let me try to get one other thing. I've got a laser pointer. That will help. I used this in March for my presentation, and when I was done, I put it on my desk, and I haven't moved it since. Did I turn it on first? It should be. Okay, so that's the CPU. Then I've got, whatever, I think 512 gigs of RAM. This is, or it might be 256, I know it's a lot. This is the RTX 4090. And, oh yeah, no, what I wanted to actually point out was this part right here. So because of the liquid cooling up here, this is actually exhaust. So if you put your hand up here, there's actually some heat. So if I try to run my temperature gun on the top of there, I get, let's see if I can get a good number. There. So as you can see right there, it's 107 degrees on the top. So there is a requirement, a heating requirement here that is unique, that didn't occur, I don't know, before the advent of liquid cooling, is that, well, any of these other cases over here, you could put this, you could move the top to wherever you want to. But because of this design, what I had is that I had this entire thing rotated this way, which meant that the top of this thing was over against the wall, and then airflow issues. So then you'd have to have some of the heat would then go back down into the thing, and you might actually get some temperature issues there. So even though none of the components themselves were recording high temperatures, maybe something somewhere was still at a point because they didn't have good airflow. And right. So beforehand, what I had is I had something stacked on top of here. One of those. Let's see if I have. I think I'm. No, there's one over here. Yeah. It's one of these like metal sort of trays that they use for, I'll show it to you. So as opposed to using just putting stuff on top of it, what I had done was I had done this here, and then I put stuff on top of here, and so then you always had this space right here for airflow to come out. So that's what I had for a number of years, and it was stationary like this. And then I realized a while back that I could just rotate it to the side and fit it down here. I didn't have problems. Although there's two ways to put it. You can either put it with this part right here going against the wall, or of course coming out this way, right? It depends on which way you want to turn it. I'm trying to think that when I was having issues, yes. So when it was issue free, it was actually that the button or this part was facing this way, which gave it the space. And then when I was having those issues, it was facing this way, the other way, where it didn't have the space. So this shutdown thing could have been 100% heat related. Okay, well, now it's been up like this for, has it been up for 2 days, or did I just reboot it? I forgot. Hold on. I rebooted about 2 hours ago. Why did I do that? Oh, because what I had was, if I go even further down, then we have the power supply. So I was at the point of not understanding exactly what the problem was. So then I had started doing some diagnostic work, and this power supply was sitting on the outside, on top of this is a half height rack mount below here, this one right here, and that's where the UPS is. And when I was doing the storage project beforehand, that's where I would have put the storage thing before I decided to just throw them in here, so, throw them into this machine. So I put the power supply back in and put the side panel back on. So then that means that only for about 2 hours I've had this thing with the panel back on. And again, it's hard to know whether this is reporting real temperatures or not, because of this, there's plastic in the way, and of course I would imagine that would make it less than accurate, if you will. And there is, let's see if, I wish I could derive evidence of how this is not, oh, here, perfect. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using the plastic right here to try to hit the wall behind me. And what that does, so now I can see, if I go right to the wall, it says 80 degrees. So then I can try this wall, and my assumption is that all the walls are the same. So now I see 73. So then I can go to the case itself, and I see 81 point. So, and as I go around the outside of the case, I'm seeing the same as if I'm trying to go through the plastic of the case, which makes me think that the temperature that's being reflected on this device is actually this transparent plastic and has nothing to do with anything past it. Since the wall temperature, if you will, is reporting the same as this one, and yeah, I think that's pretty definitive. So I guess the only, well, there's two ways really. Is I could try it to punch out the plastic and then try to use that thing, or I could just try it without. The top of the I can do this top right here should be about 120 or so. Let me see. I really don't want to change the environment too much. I just want to be able to get in there and take a good read. So 95. That's way lower than I was getting beforehand. And my ambient on that thing, 116. Okay, that's about what I was expecting. So let me move it over the side for a second. Yeah, 120. There it is. So I'm getting right around the logo. I'm getting this 118, which is about what you expect. I'm not undisturbed by that. This is about the same as I was getting beforehand. It could be heat related. I don't quite know. Let's see. So let me just leave that thing there. A few other things that have happened. Let me put this camera back. Give me a second. For people who are watching this serially, I don't know if anybody ever will, but last time I was talking about this salami slicing or penny slicing or round down scams. I did hear back from the author that I had emailed. Who said that he basically tossed all the references out like 15 years ago for the book, which makes sense. I mean, the book was already 30 years old at that time. And so he doesn't know exactly where that citation was, if it did exist. So we're still at a point of 0 for it. Yeah, and again, just unless I can see names, court cases, something that I can actually find, inmate numbers, something like that, something that I can verify with some kind of criminal record. It's just apocryphal. There was this one reference that I had seen a few days ago. It was fascinating, actually. And this is exactly what people talk about when they talk about these types of things. Here it is. So this is the... here, let me remove the background now. I gotta get going soon, but I can be here for a bit. Yeah, maybe about 10 minutes. Okay, so this one looked very Zawana, right? So this is another round down one. So this one is a claim from 1978. That's when the publishing date was. Then I found in some... Where was it? So then I said, well, maybe I can find the Zawana thing. So that looks like that it might be fruitful. Here it is. So here's something, I don't quite know, is this 1990, is it? 1990. Here's Zwana again, same thing. In 1985, a programmer. So basically, it's the same story, but now the date was moved to 1985, whereas beforehand it was reported 1978. And this article does say there's probably apocryphal and never happened. So, I mean, good on them, I guess. This is from Frack, I believe. Is it from Frack? I mean, that's the magazine rack. But let me actually try to find the real source of this thing. New Computer Express. Yeah. So the guy said that, you should check, I don't know, Datamation and Computer World. And if you saw me yesterday, the Computer World was the first place that I went. Then I went to UCLA and checked Datamation, and no, there's nothing I can find. So I'm still of the inclination that nobody's actually done it, because it doesn't work. Or I should say, if you are in a position to do it, then you are clever enough to figure out how it'll fall flat, how it won't actually assist you in any way. I did find one other citation that was very similar, which could be believable, and was, what was it? It was some other crime that, here, you could probably call this, this is by a guy named Stephen Liebholtz, and he claims 1971, a salary round down. And this you can call this a salami slice. This is the narrative. This is from 1974. The idea of this guy being alive right now is unlikely, but I haven't tried. And even if he was, for him to actually have his the documentation for his stuff, I don't think so. You only did that one. Let's try without the middle initial. What? No way. No way. No way. This guy can't be alive. Look at that. I mean, he'd have to be 96 if he was 18 then. 96. I mean, there's this obituary. Let's see. Let's give a date. This is where? Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania. Yeah, is that the same guy? Memoriam. Here it is. Same guy. Yeah. There he is. 2014. That's cool. Yeah, and that was this guy we just saw, right? There's LinkedIn right here. Yeah, he's been dead for 10 years. Okay. I mean, that's the nature of social media, right? Oh yeah, so I was in a conversation about this, and I basically said like Forex is the way for this game to go if it ever existed. Yeah. Still open, still trying to find a source for it. I mean, as my research continues, it's I don't know if I'm getting more interesting or not. It's certainly at a point now where I think I'm past any other prior work on the subject. So I do have an amount to contribute, potentially. What I'm really wondering, and what would be of value of some sort, is that folklore tends to... I shouldn't say that. I should say folklore that spreads tends to have some type of underlying there's a term for this, I'm sure. I don't want to misspeak when I say this, but essentially there's some kind of narrative structure that resonates with people for some reason, regardless of the authenticity of the story. So, perhaps, I could just make it up for the salami slicing. I don't have any evidence for this, but it would be something like the narrative, as far as I know, started in the late 1960s. That's approximately when people were starting to get computerized bank statements. And, of course, if you're too young, you'd know that. But the computerized bank statements from the 1960s, and they had errors in them. They came as... yeah, here they are. So, it's stuff that looked like this. Or this. And here they are. I thought that I've seen different ones. Yeah, it's stuff like this, all done by computer. And yeah, here they are. So basically you'd get these in the mail, and this would be it. That would tell you everything that's going on, right? So at that point, maybe people had these types of fears of saying, like, who are the people that are doing this? I don't know these people anymore. So so this naturally gives a form of alienation, where the first point of interface that people had with a computer was through their bank, right? This kind of electronic financialization. And, because most people had never touched a computer in the 1960s, but they got these computer printouts from the bank. So I guess there was this kind of, as I said, an alienation from the process of banking, and an inherent sort of a trust put into mechanized finance that people might have initially been uneasy with. So a story about a computer data specialist stealing from the customers, I think would have really resonated with this type of fear of automation. Now, you can write a good story about that, and you could probably get an article on Jacobin or something with it, because you don't. You just have to have correct politics, and you don't actually need to have correct evidence. But I'd have to build a very strong case for that. In this time period, there was a fear of computers, and people were destroying them, and basically attacking computer rooms at universities. They were associated with defense and the Vietnam War and an automation of society. So there was this burgeoning anti-tech movement of the 60s and 70s, which brought about the home computer, actually. But again, this is that kind of narrative structure that I could write, and it would be a nice read, and people would love it, but where's the strong hard evidence? There really isn't any. I haven't remotely demonstrated that the velocity spread of this folklore has to do with psychiatric, social anxiety over digital currencies and banking. You'd have to somehow... I mean, what would evidence of that even look like? I think... I mean, the problem... So there's an obvious one, which is essentially digital banking didn't go to all societies at once, and you could see that there was a lag time based on different kind of countries. Maybe credit cards were introduced in the 80s or something like that, right? And so you could have this so if you were to sort of really do some good research, maybe you can find the salami slicing being mentioned in many different languages, and then show how you didn't find any real instances of it in, I don't know, pick a language, right? Until you saw a prominence of the currency going over to a computerized form. However, a much easier hypothesis could be afforded in that such scenario. It's that most people didn't understand or wouldn't have conceived of computerized banking, so such a story wouldn't resonate because there was a lack of familiarity with it. It have nothing to do with any kind of anxiety or any kind of like deeper social truth or anything like that. It's not good evidence. How else would you be able to demonstrate it? And let's just set that one aside, the idea of it being an anxiety. Let's just say that there was some kind of real sort of between the lines sublimation of society held within the spreading of the story. I guess you could demonstrate it by the deviations, perhaps. So maybe if you can find the story being, again, the story goes back to 1968 at least, and it was the subject of at least 3 movies, and it's been said, and those were fictional accounts, but so you can separate out ones that are known fiction and claimed nonfiction, right? That's the first one. Then you can look at how the narrative has changed over the past almost 60 years now. Hopefully, you can map that to larger societal forces. I don't know how, who knows? These folklore get reappropriated to map to new concerns. And if you can show that dynamicism, then I think that that's good evidence, because you're saying, here is a save point, if you will, of the story, and then here's how it changed within this larger context. And then here's how it changed again within that same, and if you can demonstrate that multiple times, especially, let's say, after introduction, if you could do it on a cross-cultural basis, that would be even stronger. Then you could really come up with a plausible hypothesis as to what its social purpose is. This is the assumption that there is a social purpose behind it because it gets memorized and distributed, although not that much, right? I had to look up the term salami slicing, and I've had and I've found 20 instances of people citing it, but this is certainly it is up the alley of what I do with that site, which is trying to get into the deeper social meanings behind mythologies that we construct. I guess so. I guess I have something. Perhaps what I need to do next is, what was it? 4:40. Sarah's going to be my family around 5. What I need to do next is construct an outline of the potential article. Then see if it has legs, I guess. To what end, right? I don't know. Kind of that. I should get back into the actual computer programming and less of this anthropology shit. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's enough for now. I gotta get going. Alright.